Welcome everybody to the Tea with Ms McGill Show, fueled by our friends over at Blue Line Brews. Where's my brew? Here's my brew. There it is, baby. So like I've said, check out stores, look for that label. Blue Line Brews, Bemidji area, Twin Ports, Iron Range, Duluth area. You can find some of those. Otherwise, it's bluelinebrews.com. Obviously, see the banner behind us. Save 15 is the promo code to save 15% on your entire order. As always, 10% of profits go back to the men and women who have either fallen, families of the fallen, or if they were injured in the line of duty, they give them some financial support that way. Episode 40, it is Puka. It is the star of the show, Reed Larson. Windows open here at the Blue Line Brews studio. Very special guest here that we're going to get to, and we got a few questions for him, but I just want to say hello to Reed first.
Yeah, awesome to be back here in the summertime. Not a lot of people thinking about swinging the hockey stick right now. Most are thinking about swinging the golf club right now, as we just touched on the pre-show here with Zach about swinging the club. But you know what? We can't forget about the ice. As warm as it was yesterday in the 90s and the day before, hockey season's right around the corner. So we want to keep it sharp, keep us thinking about high school hockey in the area and some of our local stars. So like we say, our local stars, we like to bring in some that mean something to our programs around here, and couldn't think of too many others that would be as wonderful to invite in that mean as much to our program as a guy like Zach Stasko. So it's fun to have you aboard here, Zach.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate you guys having me.
Yeah, go ahead, fire away.
Yeah, so I mean, there's so much that we could get in and ask questions, Zach. I know quite a bit about your career from the Bantam years, winning a Bantam state championship into high school, and then even off into juniors, and of course off to UMD. But I guess there's a couple of things I kind of want to touch base on right now, because I think we get some pretty good viewership here from younger kids, high school kids, Bantam age kids that watch our show, that look forward to seeing some of the guests that we bring on here and having you on here, and some of the struggles that you've had to go through over the course of some of your years. One in particular that I thought of is there was, and maybe you can elaborate a little bit more, but your sophomore year, the first year, 15-16, when you guys qualified for the state tournament, during that season, you had some struggles there. You mind sharing a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, as you probably know, Gabe Holm and I went head to head all the way growing up, and that year he kind of got the best of me. But I mean, I wouldn't have it any other way. Him and I go way back. We're still really great friends for today. And I mean, just having that competition was really important for me developing and growing up and being a good goalie. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's really hard for small town, and as many people that watch us are kind of range people, Duluth people. A lot of people don't realize that Grand Rapids is still considered a small program. It's a program that could be a single A program, but there's no darn way that it's ever going to be a single A. But the numbers wise, it's small enough where it could be. So small town Grand Rapids in a hockey organization like this, to have two high-end, phenomenal goalies that Coach Klatt could go back-to-back with, and on any given night could flip a coin as to who he's going to start and feel 100% comfortable. You guys had that net back and forth, and like you said, he ended up winning the starting spot there that year.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, kind of like what I touched on earlier, like we went back. I mean, it was nothing new growing up, right? Pee-wees, Bantams, and high school. We split all the way growing up. So yeah, like I said, it wasn't, it wasn't a shock that he was playing over me my sophomore year. That's for sure.
Well, you couldn't ask for a better human being too. If you guys are in a competition, a nice healthy competition for the net, that first state tournament appearance, you couldn't ask for a better human being to be there. And then the next year, be behind you and cheering for you, like you guys would cheer for each other to be doing well. And it was cool to see that. Obviously we know what happened in that state tournament. You guys go down in 16-17, you win the state championship. And the coolest thing that I saw a goaltender in you come out of that state hockey tournament and prove yourself, and show the world that, hey, this is my spot. I'm here. But it was really cool to see Gabe Holm walk off of that bus hanging onto the trophy, standing there right with you, and just as proud to be a part of that as you were.
Right. Absolutely. I mean, the support for one another, I mean, couldn't be better. And I think that's kind of why we had the success that we had, was that, I mean, whoever was in net, we were cheering for. Obviously, it wasn't about us; it was about the team success at the end of the day.
Absolutely. We'll talk a little bit, Zach, about what it was like there for a couple of seasons to be coached by my good friend Trent Klatt.
I mean, he really introduced me into like a style of game where we could develop and play into the next level. And I think, you know, like kind of growing up, not to say other coaches don't do this, but I mean, you're pretty much coached into XYZ. He's had that experience. He's played pro hockey where he can see the game in a different way. And he kind of taught that to the star players that we had at the time. And it was really fun to see. Our practices were a lot different. How we coached and went about things was just a lot different, a lot more professional. You could say that.
Yeah, it's been a long road there with that group of kids. Obviously, you had a lot of success through Bantams. We touched base on that. Won a Bantam state championship a couple of years before you were in the state tournament. You had Joe Broking there coaching it for a bunch of years. Did a great job with your program through Bantams. And then obviously Trent Klatt coming through. It was just, it was right timing, the right guy for the job. And it was fun to see you guys win that state championship. I couldn't have been more proud than I was sitting up in the suite there directly on the opposite side of the rink from where you were standing, right directly across behind the away net. Really excited and happy and proud to be alumni watching you guys win that first state championship in 37 years. It was pretty cool to see that take place. What did that mean to you to be able to bring that state championship back, the first one since 1980?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, there wasn't really a doubt in my mind with that group. I think everybody could say the same thing. We're just always so resilient growing up. Like, we have the star power to win big games and, you know, get key goals like key times. Thinking about back on that, I just remember us playing in the Amsoil in the semifinals against Elk River. We were down like 3 goals going into the third, but I think Gavin had a couple, Blake, you know, had a couple, and it's just like that scoring power, that touch that we had and chemistry with that top line kind of made us prevail through all those tough games.
Yeah, it sounded good. Well, let's bring that back here in just a second. We'll talk a little bit more about that run. Puka's got a good commercial here to roll with.
Yeah, we got to get in our ODR swag ad. Reed's got some on. I got some on. So Iron Range Apparel, Thunderbird Mall, Virginia. Talked about them all year. Gift Buyers Paradise. The Richters. As a matter of fact, the Richter boy is the junior in high school. I'll be a senior now, but he's the one that kind of runs the ODR part. But there's all kinds of hockey apparel, hockey-themed apparel, Minnesota-themed apparel and knickknacks like candles and hats and jerseys and just like I said, just kind of a gift buyer's paradise. So when you're out there looking for something for somebody, run over to Thunderbird Mall in Virginia and check out Iron Range Apparel.
Iron Range Apparel, good spot, good findings for young hockey minds. So we'll bring it back to where we left off. It was kind of cool that you brought up that particular game because I think that was really kind of the turning point of, yeah, there wasn't really a doubt in people's mind that understood what was going on with Grand Rapids hockey at the time. And obviously at that point in time, I was the head coach over in Virginia, but I was closely watching what was happening over here. That was kind of that time in the game where I think it was after the second period, you guys came in and Coach Klatt decided that he was going to put Mike and Gavin and Blake back on a line together right at that point in time. It was almost like, boom, the switch hit, and now it was on like Donkey Kong. Like the rest of it was a goal. And I think even the fans saw there was no doubt in the minds of people. You felt it watching it and seeing it that there was going to be a change when you guys hit the rink in the third period. And I don't even think the fans thought there was a doubt in their mind. You're down by a couple of goals, but there was no way that you guys were going to lose that hockey game to Elk River. And then coming in, I think even it was an overtime game there, I believe, when Micah scored against Duluth East, but it was still, there still was no doubt that you guys were going to win that game. And I don't think, you know, moving on to the state tournament, anybody thought the same thing, but Elk River game and then into that finals game at Amsoil there, a loaded crowd at Amsoil Arena there with Duluth East, and Micah scores with a shot from just outside the blue line. How's that make the old Thunderhawk Valley feel, raising that trophy there at Amsoil, especially against Duluth East?
I mean, yeah, what a cool experience. The battles between us and East growing up were always, I mean, we're always kind of like that over time. I mean, they had a really good team at the time too. Ian Majou, Ryder Donovan. I think even Shea Donovan, he was there when we won it our junior year. My later on junior roommate. But no, I mean, we had the star power to win that game, and I mean, there's a reason why those guys are playing D1 now. Micah, Blake, and Gavin is because they can put the puck in the back net at those times, right? So,
yeah.
Let me grab one here. So,
yep.
I just kind of want to take it back. So, you know, obviously, I know your brother Jordy, hockey guy, played some junior hockey, played some college hockey. So, kind of bring everyone back. You know, how'd you get started? How'd you get started with goalie? Was Jordy firing pucks then? He's an older brother, so was he firing pucks then? Did he make you be the goalie? I mean, kind of bring us back to kind of the home life, family life, and how you got started.
Yeah. So I was the youngest of the group, so naturally I was just giving pads and kind of stuck back there. No, my brother, kind of growing up, his one of his close friends was Dom DiGiuseppe. You know, an old high school goalie coach for Rapids, and I always kind of got his hand-me-down gear. And my dad actually always built a rink in the backyard, and my brother and sister used to play. So, you know, I honestly, that's what happened. I kind of got stuck just kind of being their shooting targets. But no, ultimately, I fell in love playing goalie, honestly, in my backyard. You know, the rink that my dad built and them shooting on me. So, yeah.
So it was right from the start, basically.
Yeah, right from the start. I was you know, actually, I contradict myself right there. I always used to like playing goalie, but I did skate out a few years. I skated out my first year Pee-wees, but I always kind of knew that ultimately I was going to be a goalie. But I think my dad kind of pushed me being a skater a little bit just to, you know, help my skating as a goalie. And I think actually that helped me out a lot, you know, along the way.
Yeah, there's no question about it. That's definitely a big key to it, is if they can, before getting a guy locked into wearing the pads 24/7, it's always a smart move just to get skating technique. There's times during the game, obviously, you know, as well as anybody else does with a goalie, he has to be a strong skater in order to get from point A to B. And usually that's with a delayed penalty call, right? Trying to get to that bench so that we can get our sixth attacker on. But yeah, so it sounds like into that career, it was a no-brainer for you to get behind the position. We actually do another one of our side advertisements that we throw in here too, and I know you're a little bit connected, is Iron Range Goalie Academy and Derek Peterson. You have a little bit of a connection there too, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, PD was very instrumental in my development. You know, growing up as a goalie, he started his business, Iron Range Goalie Academy, when I was in Bantams. I think that's like when he first started, like in his garage, you know, open doors, taking people into his garage. And, you know, I worked with him all throughout the summer and all throughout high school. He was our goalie coach. He was there a couple times a week. But I mean, before him, we had nobody to work with, especially in northern Minnesota. So that was, you know, what he did really, really helped me out for sure. And the goalies following me.
Awesome. Well, hey, real quick, want to get in a word and a question, but a word in from the Ring Sports Bar and Grill over in Eveleth, just down from the Hockey Hall of Fame. Do you say it's a putt away?
It's well, for me, it's more like a sand wedge. For you, it's a putter.
And it's downhill.
Yeah.
So if you're visiting the Hockey Hall, go there. If you're not, go there anyway. They got great happy hours, Friday fish fries, all kinds of specials. 248-8582, or you can order online, the Ring Sports Bar and Grill.com. Like I said, you know, breakfast, full bar, full menu. So give them a try if you're over on that side of the range. You know, I see you played some junior hockey, and you actually kind of went in a way a different route than some people. You were USHL for a couple of years, and then you were NAHL. Can you take us through your junior years, how much you liked it, and maybe why or how that transition happened?
Yeah. So me, I was kind of a late bloomer, honestly. I left my senior year of high school and I went right to the USHL. And honestly, looking back at it, I was not ready to play in that league. That's for sure. Just developmentally, I wasn't there to, you know, face that competition. So I played a year there, you know, didn't do very well, but super grateful to get that opportunity just because, you know, you get forced to play with the best players, in your age group. And so that actually helped me out a ton. But after that, I went to the NAHL, and I found a starting position there, and I played 2 years there. Played pretty much every game, and so my third year junior, I had offers to go back to the USHL, and I called Coach Sandlin, and I said, what should I do here? Obviously, I have the opportunity to go back to the USHL. He said, we just want you to play games and be comfortable and confident. And that's what I did. So I stayed in the NAHL, and it's a great league, and it's especially a great league for goalies too.
Yeah, that is a great league. I've got a lot of connections in that league, and have done a lot of scouting for that league too as well. At the time when you were in Wilkes-Barre was when I was still scouting with Minot. So knowing what types of goalies go through, just looking from a scouting standpoint, and in that league, you look at how many goalies are out there in fighting for spots. You look at the starting position and wanting to be in a spot where you're going to play games and get good quality games. And the good news about the North American League, especially for goalies, is they've got older kids. Lots of times with some of the younger kids, you're not getting shots at what you need. You had a good opportunity to be able to get there and start someplace and be in a position where you can be in a leadership role. And that's what Coach Sandlin's looking for. He wants you to play. He wants you to be in a leadership role. In fact, people coming in and not coming in because you're at a backup or a third goalie spot in the USHL. Even if you would have started, you would have split time with somebody else that was younger as well too. And he wanted you to come in there ready to go and ready to play right away.
Yeah, couldn't said it any better. I mean, I think ultimately you want to play the majority of the games as a goalie, and wherever that is, the USHL or NHL, the most important thing is just getting those reps and playing those games. So, and that's what I did, and it helped me out.
For sure.
So what was the recruiting process like for you? Was kind of UMD number one or the only one, or kind of take us through that a little bit?
Yeah. So it was right after my junior year when we won state. I left literally right after the state championship game. That morning, I got tendered earlier in the season, I got tendered in the USHL by the Bloomington Thunder. And that Sunday after the Saturday championship game was their 10th game left of the season. So I had to be there for that 10 games for them to tender me. I don't know if I just there, but so I had to be there that Sunday for that game. So pretty much stayed up all night, drove all morning, and was there for that 10th game.
Was Mitch still on that team then?
Mitch was on that team. Yeah, it was funny. We had a lot to talk about after that game. But no, I was there. I got in a few games there, and I played really well actually in the USHL, and schools were calling after that. I had a handful of schools from out east. I had Mankato, the U. But when UMD called, they were the first school that I toured, and the first one I committed to. So I knew right away I wanted to be a Bulldog. So I didn't even tour the other schools. They just kind of all over the phone, talking on the phone and stuff like that. So
they were, the success was really starting to happen there too.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, how does it feel to be able to jump into that spot right after former Rapids hero Shepard was in there before you? Pretty awesome to be able to jump in and continue to take the and I call it the Cohasset connection, because you got two Cohasset guys, and I always give Zach Schneider crap about doing this because I called a bunch of the UMD games standing right next to him on nights when his partner wasn't able to be there as well. Did some color analysis, but he always just says, Hunter Shepard from Cohasset, Minnesota, or Zach Stacekel from Cohasset, Minnesota. And I said, you know what, gall darn it. I said, Cohasset's still a suburb of Grand Rapids. They're part of my program, for crying out loud. And then I got crap from Shep on that one. He goes, I'm from Cohasset, Reed. I go, I know you are, but you played for Grand Rapids.
Well, it's kind of like how Hermantown's a suburb of Duluth. All those Hermantown players, we're just guys from Duluth. I'm sure they'd like that.
Yeah.
How'd
that feel to be able to take over after that superstar there?
I mean, big shoes to live up to. What he left, a legacy at UMD here. What he did was truly unbelievable. But no, a funny story about that. I saw that Shep, when I was coming in here, I saw that he had Cohasset on his nameplate. And I'm like, that's kind of weird. I'm like, so I asked him why he did that. He's like, I'm from Cohasset, not Grand Rapids. So good juju. I thought I'd do the same thing. So that's why.
Well, I got a good running joke. I got a good running joke with Shep on that one. I give him crap about it because, like I said, when I was on TV, I always want to make sure that if I was standing next to Zach Schneider calling the game, that if they're a Rapids boy, I'm going to call them a Rapids boy. So when I get Shep would tweet me and say, I'm from Cohasset. I say, yeah, well, you're from Cohasset. That's a suburb of Grand Rapids. So you give him a little bit of crap about that. So we'll continue that crap if I ever get on there again. If I ever get the call from my nine to do any more of your games, I'll throw that in there a little bit.
Absolutely.
So what's your plan this summer? Obviously you're training. Where are you training? What's kind of the plan, and who you with, and are you being coached? Is PD still helping you at Iron Range Goalie Academy?
Yep. So I do work with PD a little bit. I'm more of a coach at PD's now, but no, I'm still in his garage a little bit. But I mostly stick around here in Duluth. We have probably half the team right now that's here in Duluth, and we have ice at Amsoil, full workout facility with the strength coach. So it made my decision easy. Kind of hard to get that up in Rapids, just, a solid group to skate with, because guys are here and there. But no, here living in Duluth all summer and work out and skating pretty much. I got Brant Nicklin here coaching me, our goalie coach here. So, but I still keep in touch with PD, and anytime in Rapids, I'll go skate with him too.
Well, you have to give Brant Nicklin a hello from me. He was my brother's roommate his freshman year at UMD when he first started there. So my brother lived with him for a couple of semesters. My brother didn't play for UMD. He kind of came in and tried out and didn't end up making the team, but he was roommates with Brant Nicklin and Sean Pagreba and Rick Morozic, a bunch of those guys that were living in the old stadium apartments. Now, back at the time, they were sitting in the spot that the new stadium is on for the football team. They were sitting there in that place. That's where their apartments were, or whatever you want to call it, on campus apartments, but that's where that hockey group was. So I knew Nicklin, know him pretty well. I see him all the time when I'm roaming in and out of the oil can there. He's a good cat. Say hi to him for me.
Oh, for sure.
So, kind of just let's bypass. Obviously we were there to be able to see that state championship. We kind of summarized up to the point with that, that battle against Duluth East in the final, and you guys went down, and there was no doubt from any of the Thunderhawk fans that were out there, anybody that was a Northern or outstate Minnesota fan, they're pretty excited to watch that state tournament. They saw black and orange all the way through the building, obviously, because 3/4 of the black and orange was from Grand Rapids. The other quarter was from Moorhead. There was no doubt that you guys were going to win that game. In fact, I had it called that the game was going to be 6-2. It ended up 6-3 at the end of it, but you guys raised the championship trophy. You come out state champs for the first time in 37 years. You go ahead and you go off and play 3 years of college hockey. You come into UMD. Last year you ran into, I guess, some more challenges in life. If you don't mind sharing, your battle with cancer over the course of last year. Yeah.
So it kind of all started, I would say, last summer, kind of just looking back on it. I would get sick. I'm usually sick maybe one time a year, but last summer I got sick like 4 times, like really bad. I was in the hospital twice for para-influenza once, and I forget what the other thing was. But moving into the school year and the winter, I just kind of really wasn't feeling myself. I was super achy all over. And one of my testicles was getting super hard, and it was just something was out of place. It ended up like growing a little bit of pain down there. I'm like, all right, something's going on. But honestly, I just men are stubborn, right? We're just like, oh, it'll go away. So after about like 3 weeks, my girlfriend's like, okay, like you got to go to the hospital. Something is super like wrong down there. So I went to the hospital and got diagnosed that night, actually. So I went in on a Monday, got diagnosed. Obviously, at that point, I was just like, well, I don't even know if I'm going to play hockey, like not again, but for sure the rest of the season. So super bummed there. You know, kind of told the boys on that Tuesday, and, you know, had to go through surgery and treatment and all that jazz, but feeling a lot better now. That's for sure.
This is what, October, September?
Yes, this was, I played a few games. I started the season against Bemidji, and then played the next weekend against Michigan and got diagnosed that Monday right after Michigan. And, you know, and at that point, I was just completely drained and didn't feel like myself at all. So it all makes sense, I guess, now.
So, like, did your parents know you were going in? Like, how did you break the news to your family? I mean, your girlfriend, I mean, the team. I mean,
right.
What was going through your mind?
I still don't even know if I still really comprehend what happened, but I tried to keep, you know, my head up about it. I went in with myself because that kind of time it was still like COVID here, so we only could allow one person in the hospital at a time. So I was in the waiting room for about 2 hours, and they kind of sat me down and they're like, "We've seen enough of these before." Obviously, you know, you can't tell if it's cancer before you have the operation, the surgery to, you know, test it. But they're like, we've seen enough of these, and we know it's testicular cancer. But they were pretty optimistic about it right away. They were like, it's very treatable. As long as it hasn't spread, then we're gonna get it out and you'll be living a good life. So from there on, I kind of kept my head high about it, and, you know, told my girlfriend there right away. Told my parents the next day. I didn't really have the heart to tell them, but obviously tough news, and I don't want them to worry or anything. But day.
Yeah, it's a tough goal, but I know, you know, when you delivered the news to your team, and then the news kind of hit, you know, all the Northland, and the support that you got from all of Bulldog country, and of course all of Thunderhawk country, people were pretty supportive, and obviously I'm sure that felt a lot like you had a good backing there for yourself.
Absolutely. So it was actually, late October, early November. And my goalie partner started a Movember page. It's for Men's Health.
Yeah.
And this was before I got diagnosed, and we had like a couple $100 on there maybe. And after the news broke, our Movember page reached like $15,000 in like 2 weeks or whatever it was. So that was super cool to see. There was random businesses around Duluth giving like a couple grand, which was just like super awesome. Obviously it raises money for a really good cause, but I think it spreads, most importantly, it spreads awareness, just because, you know, don't be stubborn. It raises awareness in a way where it's like, as a guy, like if you feel something wrong, it's hard for us to do. Go into the hospital, get it checked out. So that's kind of my main message behind it. And I'm super happy how it turned out.
Yeah. Well, obviously, you know, I teach the health classes at Grand Rapids High School. So the message is always, if, you know, in self-examination, if something doesn't feel right, you're the one who knows the best. If something doesn't feel right, then it's, you know, go get it checked out. And obviously getting that checked out, the sooner that you get it checked out, the better your chances are of a full recovery and taking care of that cancer. So it sounds like things are on the mend. They have been for a couple of months. You got some games in during the season this year, and things were kind of somewhat back to normal for you.
Yeah, absolutely. So after that surgery, had to do a round of chemo, which is very fortunate, honestly. Just one round is just 3 weeks, but that was a different experience for sure. Lost all my hair. Looks like a different person, but no, it was, I'm feeling really well now.
Good.
Back to normal for sure.
That's good.
So if my memory serves me, were you the tender in that Sioux game out in Fargo?
Not out in Fargo, but I played against them here in Duluth. In the
So no, but the long one a couple of years ago. Was that
yes. Yep.
Was it 5? How many?
Yeah.
It's 5 overtime.
Yeah, 5 overtime. So what do you remember about that game?
Not a whole lot. I was out of water. Wasn't that much oxygen going to the brain. No. Obviously, probably the biggest college game I've ever played in so far. it was a crazy battle. I mean, just looking back at it, it felt like it was never going to end. We actually had a goal disallowed. Let's go back actually. So we were up 2-0 going into the third with like a minute left. The game was almost over, and North Dakota scores 2 goals in like 30 seconds.
Hayne wasn't one of them, was he?
No. He never left.
You made sure?
No, he was for sure on the ice though. No, they scored 2 goals with like 30 seconds left. So that was a freaking gut punch, right? Going into overtime. So first overtime, second overtime. All right, legs are feeling a little heavy. We get a goal disallowed. I mean, we score, celebrating the corner. It's all North Dakota fans, right? Everyone it's in Fargo, so all North Dakota fans. We score, we go into the corner. Everybody's just throwing their beer. Oh, just everybody's dunking their beer on us. Literally everybody on our team has smells like, tastes like, probably half drunk at this point. They're just
bad.
Goal gets disallowed. Everybody's just still reeks of beer, obviously super bummed. But no, goal gets disallowed. We played another overtime. All right, legs are getting super, super heavy. Another overtime. Nobody's standing at this point. But no.
Locker room, were they bringing food in at that point? Were they bringing food and stuff? And what was the locker room like after a third overtime? You played 6 periods.
Right, 6 periods. Yeah.
And it's got to be midnight.
Yeah, they're bringing in electrolytes, waters. We have like a snack bar in the room, so people were taking snacks. But literally, Sandy wasn't even saying anything when he got in the locker room. Everybody was just like on the ground with their feet up on the chair. Nobody's really saying anything. I was just like, I remember vividly just coming to the locker room after the third overtime, like, somebody please score, like just banging it. That was that I think the whole intermission. But no, I mean, at the end of the day, my roommate, Luke Milmock, in the 5th overtime, buried one. He was coming off the bench and shot a 5-hole and, sent us to Pittsburgh.
That was pretty awesome. That was a fun experience to watch that. And I watched every dang second of that game, keeping my fingers crossed and praying at the right direction that game went. Because you earned that one. You earned your way into that one. That's for sure.
For sure.
I only got one more question, and you can cap it off if you've got one. But so, speaking of celebration, you were talking about the beer and stuff. So what was it like? I mean, give me kind of that locker room to bus to hotel. Now, obviously, we've learned now that you had to skedaddle in the morning, get down to Illinois. But, how long did either the coaches or the, at the Civic, or what is it called? The Excel Energy Center, how long did they let you stay in the locker room? I know phones aren't really allowed, Minnesota's high school rules, but did they let you bring them in? A bunch of social media stuff. Bring me through a little bit of that celebration, kind of what you remember. What was the bus like? You get back to the hotel, kind of bring me through that.
Yeah. So actually Trent took away our phones. So you go down the tournament on Tuesday. Trent took our phones on Tuesday. We didn't have them all weekend. But no, after the game, everybody's celebrating. He actually gave us our phones back then. So I think we have some pretty good videos there. But no, all the coaching staff, everybody involved with Grand Rapids hockey was pretty much in our room. They were in no rush to get us out. I think we were there for probably a couple hours, just like playing loud music and celebrating and whatnot. But right after that, we went back to the hotel. We went to, I forget what the name of the restaurant is. We went to a restaurant, pretty much just stayed up all night, just having fun with the parents. You're a kid at that point, so you're just doing whatever you can have fun.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was a fun experience. I just remember waiting after that game. I stood in the lobby area while you guys came walking up the stairs, and standing next to Ann Campbell and a couple of the other people that were there, and Pat Weber, and waiting for you guys to come through. And it was probably a good hour and a half before the first face peeked its way out of there. And I think the first one to walk, you guys all walked out together, which was pretty awesome. Everybody came out at the same time. And like we said earlier, Gabe Holm was one of the first ones to walk out, and he had the trophy in his hands, which was really pretty classy. A kid that obviously deserved to play as much as anybody else did. But at this point in time, you won the net. But that was an awesome teammate who never complained 1 second about it. cheered for you, and Clap gave him the trophy, and he was the first one to walk out of there with it. It was pretty cool. Come up the stairs and see you guys win that championship. That's a big deal. I know we've talked about it a couple of times on here. You can win yourself, keep your fingers crossed, an NCAA championship here. You can find yourself hopefully playing in the NHL and get yourself going into a Stanley Cup at some point in your life, but you're never going to be able to top that experience that you had there winning a championship for Grand Rapids High School. You'll hear that from how many different professional players that have won at every level. Neil Broughton talking about winning a state championship with Roseau, and talking about winning an NCAA title at the U, and winning a Stanley Cup, and even playing in the Olympics. And he said the best thing that he ever did was play for Roseau High School and take them to the state championship. So there's nothing I think that'll ever top that, as far as how you feel winning it with your buddies that you played with all the way through. And I think that's pretty special to be able to do that, and be able to say that you guys were the first team to crack that egg for the first in 37 years. Like you said, 1980 was the last time that Grand Rapids had won it. Before that, a couple of trips in 06 and 07. And there was a Stayskull in the mix back then too. I think Joe was on those teams.
Yep.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Was on those teams.
Yeah, Big Joe.
So
yeah,
go ahead.
No, it's super, super cool. I mean, even going back to Rapids last weekend, like I saw, a handful of guys that I won it with, and we're going to carry that tradition on forever, just, meeting up and, having some fun. And that memory will live in the back of our heads the rest of our lives for sure.
Well, keep that ring in a special spot, because there's, like I said, hopefully you get one that's got a bulldog on it. Hopefully you get one that's got an NHL crest on it someday, but there's nothing better than that one that sits in your drawer that's got a GR on the front of it.
Absolutely.
Right, brother. Hey, real quick, is Trista Anderson still doing the yoga? You guys still do yoga?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Classmate of mine. You tell her I said, I don't know if you do it in the summer, but try to remember that.
We do it every Wednesday in the winter, so.
Okay.
Awesome. Well, Zach, I'll tell you what, thanks for taking the time to join us here on the Tea with Ms. McGill. Hopefully in the future here, we'll be able to see some more accolades getting chipped up there. Let's start with one here at the Bulldogs here next fall. Get that going. I'd like to see the UMD Bulldogs cranking their way through another national championship run. And we'll see some great things from you coming in the future. Obviously, we'll be talking here.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for having me on. It's,
man, good luck, man. Bright future.
Good luck. Take care.
Yes. Bye.
See ya. Awesome. What a great dude. All right. So a couple more things to move on to. About a word for Minnesota hockey camps.
Well, we got Minnesota hockey camps actually underway right now. There's an elite camp going on over at Breezy Point. So Minnesota hockey camps in Breezy Point, Minnesota. They've got the elite Minnesota hockey camp going on right now. Another one next week. And then there's some, they got a couple of weeks where there's some girls camps going on. And then after that, they've got some open slots for people to sign up for more Minnesota hockey camps. Like I said, on the ice, 2 times a day. You got classroom, you got dry land training, you got weightlifting. It's a camp where the pros go. There's numerous professional hockey players that are considered themselves alumni of Minnesota hockey camps. As you can see, I'm wearing my Minnesota hockey camps camo hat today for the boys over there.
Sweet.
Yes,
nice.
Definitely. So you got your crew over there underway right now. You got Craig Larson, you got Chris Stewart, Tony Massieri, and the crew that are running Minnesota hockey camps. Bought over the last couple of years. They bought over a couple of years ago from Chuck Brillo and company, and they're keeping that tradition going over there. So if you're looking for a good camp, get into Minnesota hockey camps, mhc.com. Check that baby out and see if you can't get signed up here. They got some open slots.
All right. Just a few news items to run through here quickly. We hope we didn't forget anyone on this list, but recent USHL draftees across the range here, Luka Roloff, Will Troutline, and Hunter Bischoff. So we just wanted to acknowledge them and say congrats.
Yeah, congratulations on those recent drafts, the USHL. Another shout out too. Wouldn't mind making a shout out there to Hunter Bischoff. Hunter Bischoff made his commitment to play Division I college hockey at Augustana, and Augustana is just now, this next season will be entering a Division I program. Hunter Bischoff was the first committed player in Augustana history. So we got that as another feather in our cap here at Grand Rapids, and obviously a huge feather in the cap of Hunter Bischoff. So congratulations on that.
All right, a legend and a gentleman who was garnering a lot of media attention this time a year ago, Mike Randolph, has been named the new head coach at St. Thomas Academy.
Yeah, I can't say as I'm surprised at all whatsoever. I'm not surprised at all. I kind of knew that, as soon as Mike Randolph was going to take the assistant coaching position there with Trent Eigner, that Trent probably could stay as long as he wanted to, and Trent decided to take his talents elsewhere. But as soon as Mike Randolph went there, you just thought, well, it's a matter of time before Trent decides that he's going to hang it up and Mike will take over. And I'm not surprised at all. I'd expect that hockey program to be exactly what the tradition of that program is, and expect, I guess, the magician of tactical hockey to come out when you start watching any more and more of St. Thomas Academy. You're just going to see you're going to see magic happen there at St. Thomas. Not that you haven't before already, because you have Trent Eigner, awesome coach, the coaches that were there before. The program's got a few state championships under their belt, but expect to see more coming through with Mike Randolph there. I'm not surprised at all.
Okay. Well, stay on the coaching theme. Coach Scott Sandelin, him an alumni, re-ups with UMD Bulldogs through the 26-27 season. Probably another guy that's not a real surprise.
No, I think if you can lock in Sandelin for another contract, I think you're a smart athletic department. And I know that the activities director at UMD is they're losing their activities director. He took a job elsewhere. They have a new one coming in. I think this is just a nice move. I don't know if it was the new activities director that hired, or
it was the old.
It was the old.
Yeah.
So that was really a smart move by him to be able to get him signed right away and get that locked into another contract with him, so that the new guy doesn't have to come in and have to try and negotiate a big deal like that. And I just think it's a no-brainer. Scott Sandelin has brought it to great lengths. It has a great tradition of having Iron Range help at that position. And Scott Sandelin being a Hibbing native, you had Mike Surdich, who was a Virginia native, and Gus Hendrickson, obviously, who was an Eveleth native back in the day. But of course, both Surdy and Gus coached at Grand Rapids back in the 70s and 80s. So there's a good connection there of Iron Range help at the helm of that position. And it's just smart to keep that going, at least for another 5 years, a contract signed there with Scott Sandelin. So good to see that.
Yeah, little tidbit on his coaching tenure. The UMD men's hockey program has attained a 3-point grade point average or better nearly every year under his tenure. So, that's pretty impressive too. Sometimes we get caught up in all the hockey and all the fame or glory, whatever you want to call it. But, these guys are still student athletes at heart. And so that's pretty cool to see.
Yeah. When you can still continue to do what you're supposed to be doing when you're off at college, which is educating yourself for the future, as well as produce an elite hockey program that contends every year into an NCAA tournament, possibly winning a national championship. When you can do both of those things, but do it at high levels, you're doing your job. So congratulations to not only having a successful hockey program, but producing good academics and people moving off and doing good things in the workforce too.
All right. And finally here, got to ask you, headed into game 4 tonight, who's winning the Stanley Cup in 2022?
Well, I'll tell you, I would have said that game 4 tonight would have sealed up the sweep, but apparently, what was it, Tuesday night, Tampa Bay decided Monday night, Tampa Bay decided to wake up. So here's my prediction. Vasilevsky struggled on the weekend with that 7-0 loss in game 2. But here's the deal. It's going to be Colorado's going to win this. If they can make a comeback from behind 2-0 from that group, or whatever it is, 2-3-0, wherever they were at. It was 2-0. It's 2-0. Now it's 2-1. If they can make a comeback on where Colorado is right now, Colorado is at another level. There's something else. But I'm going to be honest. Would I like to see it go to a game 7? I sure would. I would like to see it continue with, if you think about the history of the NHL and the Stanley Cups, this is the first time, if Tampa Bay could win this Stanley Cup, that would be 3 in a row. They would three-peat the Stanley Cup, and that would be the first time that any team has been able to win 3 in a row since the New York Islanders won 4 in a row back in the early 80s. It was 80, 81, 82, and 83. The Islanders won 4 in a row. There hasn't been another team to win 3 in a row as far as I can think in my Rolodex of memory. There was a time when the Oilers were in it 3 times.
85, 86. No, 86, the Canadians won it. 87 Oilers, 88 Oilers.
Yeah.
And they were supposed to win it in 89, and that was when, was it Kevin Lowe?
Yeah.
Scored on Grant Fuhr or Andy Moog, whichever one. And then
Yeah.
Calgary won it with Theo Fleury as a rookie.
Yes.
Yeah.
So obviously you see that there's a trend there that it's been difficult for teams to win a three-peat. But the last team to three-peat, and actually they four-peat, was the New York Islanders back in 80, 81, 82, and 83. So would I like to see it? Yeah, I would. I'd like to see things are supposed to be done like that every once in a while. It's nice to see a dynasty rise. The Tampa Bay Lightning have been phenomenal the last couple of years, but if I'm going to make a prediction, I'm going to say tonight you're going to see a win by Colorado, and I think Colorado's going to finish it up in the next game. I hate to say it, but I think that's just my opinion.
All right.
They're good.
Yeah, they're good. They're good. All right. Anything else?
Nope. Looking forward to those of you that are getting into your summer training here now. If you're a high school player and you're getting into doing your summer training, obviously I coach at the high school level, and I just like to say your preparation in the summertime is important to you. Getting into the weight room, getting onto the rink and skating. But it's also important to do other things. So many other coaches are going to say, how much hockey are you doing in the summertime? How much of this, how much of that? I'm going to be the guy that says, how much other stuff are you doing as well? Are you getting out and fishing? Are you getting out and doing other things as well too? You need to get yourself out, play baseball, play golf, all of those things.
Tennis.
So yeah, those that have other abilities other than just playing the game have prepared themselves for different opportunities in life too. So yes, you should be preparing and training for hockey, but get out and fish, get out and play summer baseball, play summer golf, do a lot of different things.
Awesome. All right. Well, that's a wrap for episode 40. Please subscribe. Please smash the like button. We'd love if you did that. Independence Day weekend's coming up here. So, be safe. We wish all of you a great Independence Day, and it will be a weekend this year because it's on a Monday. So we got the long weekend. If you got a comment for us, go ahead and leave it. Otherwise, Goatsportsmediallc at gmail.com if you want something a little bit more private. Thank you to our great partners. Blue Line Brews, the Rink Sports Bar and Grill, Iron Range Apparel and ODR Apparel, Minnesota Hockey Camps, Iron Range Goalie Academy. We are now on Rumble under Goat Sports. You can find us there. We're now on Instagram under Tea with Ms. McGill. For Reed Larson, I am Puka. Get out there and be your dream. You're tuned to the Tea with Ms. McGill Show.